So this is my little forging area. Fairly new to this, but I figured I'd throw some information out there for anybody that's inclined to listen. I've built my own forge and pretty much all my own tools. Not really going to say how long I've been at it, because I've been a steel fabricator most of my life, but fairly new to the blacksmithing world. So enough of me, here's my stuff. Anyway, this here is my forge. Don't mind all my messy crap in the background. It's kind of a spin-off of the one on the Central Craftsman site that he built. It's a little smaller, but the same theory. With the separate base, then the top. The top can be lifted off, stack fire bricks around it, make it any height you want. Built my own burners all the way down, 0.35 MIG tips for a gas orifice. I ain't gonna be able to see it in there, but the whole upper shell is all casterable refractory, same as this border here. That's double layered fire brick. A little custom stand my dad made a million years ago. I've tuned her back up, brought it back to life, and put it on, used it for my forge. But that's about enough of that. I'll add more information on any of this stuff that you guys want to see. But over to my tools. Some simple little tongs that seem to work pretty good for me. Some store-bought chisel that's, I've used it for a fuller, I've used it for a chisel. That's my giant. Right there. I've built my own Hardy Hawk cutoff. It's basically cheated a little on that guy. I've done a couple hand forged ones and they work pretty good, but this works better. It's the end of a split maul. I cut it off. I actually used the rest of it for my first hammer I built, and a pry bar. Slips right in the old Hardy hole. Seems to hold up really well to abuse. Sharpenable, thin, radius, just like all the good cutoffs need to be. As far as all my hand tools, I won't pick each one up, but you can get the gist of what's there. I got some fullers and some chisels and some customs and my maker's mark and a radius, punches. All this stuff's out of spring steel from Automotive and Train Springs. Center punches, radius chisel, slot punch, little hand punch that I made an eyeball set out of for doing some bottle opener stuff. Here's some of my primitive. That was my very first cutoff that I forged. It's a mild steel garbage, but it worked for the time being. About a 80-year-old cutoff for one of the anvils I have. It belongs to my grandpa. This used to be a jackhammer bit, and it happened to be hollow, so I use it for a rivet header. There's a little small one. The first hammer I started with, I don't use it much anymore, but it's nice to have the fuller on the back of it. Little spring fuller I made. Hammer eye punch. This was a creation that I came up with due to a fellow named Alex Steele. I watch his videos quite a bit, just for, he does a lot of tool making and I really like it. But yeah, so that's about it for my little selection. And mind you, I've deleted a lot of unnecessary crap throughout time out of this. Had a bunch more. That thing's been piled before. But anvils, I started with this guy. It's a 55-pound freaking pot metal, made in China, like Harbor Freight anvil, and it is absolute garbage as far as an anvil is concerned. But it's nice for doing all of my cutoffs and stuff. A sacrificial anvil, basically. I have this Peter Wright that was, well, it's on this side. It's a good old anvil, little 58 pounder. Works well for having a good anvil to use for smaller stuff. I've got a striking anvil over there that's for all my big hammering. This is for smaller stuff, delicate, clean work, and sacrificial chop on through her type situation. So the stuff that's sitting on the anvil is some of the things I've made. Little wizard head bottle opener. He's pretty cool. And these have evolved a little bit. I started out with not nearly this quality, but they work really well. They open bottles, I guess that's what matters. Hammers I've made. So this was the first guy. This is that split maul head, and it has been highly modified due to a lot of sweat and strain on my right arm. And that little hammer over there is what I use to make it. So this guy is a learning process. Number 2, that's a 4.5 pounder, by the way. I went from a 6 to 4.5 when this is my square round, flat round surface. This is out of a Kenworth axle, a log truck Kenworth axle. That was the first real hammer I made. The whole everything, fullers, all of it. And by the way, I make my own handles too. This little guy has become one of my favorites. It's just a little over 1.5 pounds, almost 2 pounds. Made it out of a Chevy axle, the thickest part right up by where the tire bolts on, right the bearing surface is. You can almost still see the line right there from where the bearing surface was on one side and just regular bare axle on the other. But man, I love this little guy. Blackened handle, whatnot. So. And then I've made lots of stuff like that strap hanger up there, on and on and on with that kind of stuff, but I won't go too much into that. These are some of the things that are just getting me started. Evolution of my little blade making. So that's the crown jewel at the moment. First knife I ever made, right there, railroad spike knife. I think that's standard blacksmith requirement. My brother logs for a living, and he brought me some cable, so I started playing with cable. Just forged it down, see if I could get a cutting edge. It worked. Cable handle's pretty neat. Gotta watch out for wires every once in a while, but this was the first one with a wood handle. Now it don't look like much, but see if I can get the light right here. If you can see it, that's cable. So that was my first, and yes, there's inclusions and all kinds of stuff. This was still learning how to forge weld. And the latest and greatest, and it's not super pleasing, but it's a cable Damascus with a spring steel center. And it's hard to see, it's kind of got some wet. It's raining. I walked out here to the shop here a little bit ago, but maple burl handle, stainless steel pins, it's through tang, survival style cord wrap pommel, keeps it in your hand nice. Would have liked to have made a little bit bigger guard on it, but it's for me. It's like a camp knife style, but pretty neat for a first real attempt at a knife. It took like 3 evenings after a full day's work poking at it to make that. And mind you, I have no belt sander, no nothing. I got those 2 angle grinders sitting on the bench right there. And that's what I have to work with besides the bench grinder on a stand. Welder, which I use very little these days, but so that's my little show. Just kind of first video out, just letting some information out there. Comment, let me know if you want to see more of what I've been doing. You got questions about anything I've been doing, let me know. Let me know if you think I should put out another video. This is just kind of a shot in the dark to get started and just see if anybody's interested. So thanks, have a nice day, and thanks for watching. Appreciate your time.